It's a short follow-on video for the video I made about whether or not the H100i all-in-one cooler and the Asus Maximus 6 Formula motherboard with its armour on, whether they, in combination with the Corsair 550D, everything works out. And it kind of does if you use the spacers that I mentioned. Just as a direct answer to one of the questions that was raised in the video while I was making it, you can see there that the voltage cables from the power supply that supply the CPU with extra voltage all fit perfectly. There's no obstructions, they plug in. There's two sets on this motherboard for extra voltage for stability when overclocking. There's also a Molex at the bottom there which I plugged in for extra voltage, again for overclocking stability. The one next to that is the front mounted HD audio. Then we have the two coloured ones there are the USB 2 headers. They've been used, one for the pump which has its little controller software, and one goes into the power supply which also gives control and feedback to the Corsair software. The actual power supply is a Corsair H100i, and that cable there will be for the GTX 780 when that gets plugged in. At the moment there's a little 210 in there just to make things a bit clearer, so just ignore that. That's the USB 3 header for the case. There's 16 gig of Corsair Vengeance RAM. There's 250 gig Samsung Evo SSD. There's a 3 terabyte Western Digital Black hard drive for data and games primarily, and that's a little cheapy Seagate 3 terabyte hard drive for backup purposes. And on the front we can see two optical drives. One's a standard DVD-RW and one's multi-layer Blu-ray drive. At the front you see I've got the case off, and you can see it's down here. Quite a substantial bit of metal really. It's got quite a nice bit of padding on the inside of it, and it's fairly substantial. So I take it off. Generally, I'm not a big fan of the front mounted cases. When they stop supplying cases that support DVD drives, I think it makes more sense to have a front case on. I think Next have just released one. But if you accidentally click a DVD or CD drive when you're in Windows Explorer, that tends to eject it automatically, just Windows trying to be helpful. And of course with the door on and my door shut, it would eject straight into the door, which can't be good for the drive. And this is actually one of the few cases that I think looks actually quite nice without the front case on. The only indication that it has actually got a case, case door, is the little clips where it fits on, and the fact that this little bit here with the USB 3, the power reset and the usual headphone and mic, that's slightly raised out to fit into the slot at the front. But apart from that I think it looks quite nice. This front panel here also pops off and there's access to the fans. Again, it's got acoustic stuff on it. Quite nice really. Going over to the top, there's a magnetic mesh that comes off, and you can see there's the radiator sitting there at the top. I've read on some forums that people are sort of noticing that when they turn their case upside down that the radiator immediately falls out, and that's probably because they haven't moved the grommets, little rubber grommets, and there's 8 of them, one for each screw obviously, from the holes where they might have been to the holes where they should be to fit their radiator, because without those the screws do indeed fall straight through the holes, so obviously they've got to be put on. But that's a bit of a unfortunate lesson to learn if you forget about it. So that's it pretty much set up. So let's see what you get with the case. Might as well combine it with this little case review. Well, this is what's left over. Various screws, cable ties, little sticky adhesive cable clips, USB 3 to USB 2 converter, various screws. These are all listed on the little back of the manual, apart from these, in case you're wondering what they were. Funny little plastic clips. Rather thoughtfully, what Corsair have done is they've included 4 of those because they fit on the front door and that's what it clips to. So if you break one of those clips, they actually supply you with spares, but they're not listed on any of the sort of inventory or the what you get thing on the back of the manual. That's the hard drive caddies. They're quite nice. There's no screws, they just sort of clip in and it slides in and clips in. That's always a worry because you think there might be vibration, but in this case they're actually quite well held and there isn't any vibration at all, and they actually dampen the noise quite well too. So that's actually quite a nice little design. I was a little bit apprehensive when I didn't see any screws because I do like screwing things in. So let's see what happens when we turn it on. This monitor isn't the one that's going to be used with it, this is just a test one. Obviously when it starts up there's going to be a lot of noise because everything runs at full pelt. But that's basically it running now. I'll hold it in quite close and you can hear the various sounds it makes. And there's the desktop. So it's pretty quick. That's quite well actually. Just close this. X-File having a whinge about administrator privileges, so we've done that. And we'll just look a quick look at the Corsair iLink software while we're here. Every time it starts up it whinges about UAC. There is a, if you Google it, there is a trick you can do with Task Scheduler that stops that from happening so that you can run it when it starts up. There we have the little diagram thing, that's the case, I've altered that. There's drive temperatures, there's the pump, it's an i7 4770K. The fans are not running very fast. There's also temperature feedback and fan feedback from the power supply. And I'll just stop talking and you can hear what the general noise level is. So actually pretty quiet. There are in fact two fans at the front that are running. I haven't bothered connecting that one, I'm not sure whether I will or not. Probably won't. So it's actually makes for a very quiet system. The fan in the power supply doesn't run until it gets hot, so most of the time when you're just idling it'll be not spinning at all. I've mounted it that way up because I don't want it necessarily, it's going to go on carpet. I don't want it to suck up loads of stuff from the carpet and act like a massive vacuum cleaner. Notice also there's sort of space for radiator mounts on the bottom as well, but that's going to complicate things with the power supply. So all in all, it's a pretty nice case, and once you've overcome the problem that was highlighted by the first video, it all fits together rather nicely and works quite well. Hopefully this has answered a few questions. Thanks for watching.